What do you see in this picture? Some might provide a more obvious answer, such as a beautiful display of stars and colors. Others might say they see a large span of nothingness and space. When people ask me what I see, my answer tends to be a little bit different. I see a great history of human success stories, tales of courage of men who have gone where no other man have gone before. I see limitless potential, limitless opportunity. One question someone may ask, though, is, what business do we even have here? Were the astronomical costs worth it then, and are they worth it now? Should we continue the space program? As someone who has worked closely with NASA as a service provider for the past few years, I believe so. The first argument I see when people believe the space program should be discontinued is because of the costs. For fiscal year 2018, NASA was appropriated $20.7 billion, which was the largest budget they had received since 2009. Everyone knows that launching a rocket is not cheap either. Launching an SLS rocket could reach up to $1 billion per launch. And it's true that space exploration is not cheap, and costs in the past may have been extreme, but NASA is continuing to find new ways to become more cost efficient and save money. The first example we can look at of NASA trying to save money is with SpaceX. I mentioned earlier that launching a standard SLS rocket previously used by NASA could reach up to $1 billion per launch. This is because the rockets NASA was using were not reusable rockets. New engines and fuel tanks would have to be fabricated each time NASA needed to send supplies to the space station. However, the federal government has begun to privatize the space industry. By using SpaceX's reusable Falcon Heavy rocket, the cost for each launch has been drastically reduced to only $90 million per launch. NASA does more than just launch rockets, though, and have been looking for other ways to save money for the entire agency. NASA has created one of the largest shared services center in the federal government. Business items that have transitioned to the Shared Services Center include human resources, finance, our help desk, and procurement services. I personally work for the NASA Shared Services Center and can attest to their number one focus of being supporting the agency and finding every way we can to save money. We constantly search for new ways to become more efficient and to do things that used to take several departments across the agencies to process. We have made it possible for the centers to save money by cutting these support functions at their center, so they will have more money in their budgets to put towards their personal projects. The NASA Shared Services Center is also leading the charge in automation for our agencies. Processes that were previously being worked by people, such as creating reports and distributing awards to contractors, are now automated and thus reduce our labor costs. Another common argument I hear often is that space travel doesn't benefit the average person. It might not cost $1 billion to launch a rocket anymore, but $90 million is nothing to wag your tail at. What benefits do we receive as everyday citizens from space research? I have no plans of going to space anytime soon. Would that money be better spent elsewhere? You may be surprised about some of the ways that we've benefited from space research at NASA. Below, you can see athletic shoes, a camera phone, laptop, mouse, and a wireless headset. Which of these items do you think NASA had a large part in developing? If you answered all of them, you would be correct. These are all items that we use every day that NASA actually led innovation for because it was something that they needed for their astronauts going to space. NASA is also developing two different aircrafts that would both benefit the private sector. NASA is aiming to make the X-57 aircraft, which is the first fully sized electronic aircraft. Innovations in this area could help cut back on fuel usage in the aircraft industry. The X-59 Quest plane aims to be the first supersonic aircraft that produces a low sonic boom signature. If NASA can develop this technology successfully, the private industry will be able to use this technology to create a plane that will allow us to travel in very quick trips, such as from New York to Los Angeles in only half the time. The final benefit from having a successful and active space program is one I feel very strongly about. Today in the United States of America, our country is more divided than ever. We all want unity and look for something everyone can get behind. I can't help but think about our country when Neil Armstrong first walked on the moon. Everyone was glued to their TV and radio, waiting to see what would happen next. Everyone was so proud of the accomplishments we made. We were able to finally land someone on the moon, a feat that many thought was impossible. The space program is a mission we can still get behind today. We have taken many steps since then to move our country forward. Let's make another leap for mankind.